ahead of WrestleMania 27, The Miz looked every bit like the Great One until he removed his sunglasses, as he would have gotten away with it had Michael...
Oh, what's up? Oh, what's up?
What up, it's Machi back in another WWE video, and it's gonna be by WrestleMania, and it's gonna be 11 biggest wrestling trolls. Oh man, hey, when it comes to wrestling trolls, it's like always people imitating people's entrances or tricking the crowd, or just any type of, it could go in any way. But like let's see what type of list he put together.
Wait a minute. Professional wrestlers make for some of the funniest...
I'm sorry for pausing. I hope he has that CM Punk fucking clip in here where he had like Stone Cold, like quote unquote, about to come out on Friday Night Smack. I remember that moment because it's part of my favorite, like, CM Punk quote mocking the crowd. He's like, oh, bro, hey, he had them motherfuckers on the edge of their...
Gunther? Our first troll job deserving of praise is also the most recent, as Gunther, fresh off retiring AJ Styles at the 2026 Rumble, mocked the Phenomenal One's iconic ring entrance on the following Raw. Though it had been reported ahead of time by PW Insider that AJ was not scheduled for the show, there remained hope that he would at least appear one final time to deliver a farewell speech a la Shawn Michaels in 2010. That's what fans were anticipating when the opening bells of his theme music bellowed out, but their euphoria quickly turned sour when Gunther ran out to the stage instead. He paused before raising his arms in time with the music and pyro before AJ's music turned into Gunther.
This is the new legend killer, bro. Well, career killer, actually. Like, man, this nigga is like a modern, like, he's a good wrestler, but like the fucking crowd is literally hating him now. That's good. Because that's what like fucking wrestling needs nowadays. I feel like it needs some type of rejuvenation of like this like hatred of a heel, because like everybody always find themselves liking the heel. Oh my god, he's so cool, bro. I remember it, like people actually hating people back in the day in like the early 2000s. I miss that, bro. I miss the fucking heels of that day. I miss like Edge. I miss like all of them just being hated.
The troll job having garnered the exact reaction that WWE was looking for. Gunther has never exactly suffered at any point throughout his 7-year stay with WWE, but he needed to add another layer to his character to prevent fans from growing bored of his same old "the mat is sacred" stick. Becoming the career killer was the exact move he needed, allowing him to display just the right level of assholeness. Number 10. The Heartbreak Kid Damien Sandow? Before he found solace as the Miz's stunt double Damien Mizdow, Damien Sandow took his inspirations from elsewhere, mimicking a different wrestler or celebrity every week as Charlie Huss had done before him, and even The Big Show. Between April and August of 2014, the former Mr. Money in the Bank embraced life as Abraham Lincoln, Sherlock Holmes, Magneto, Bruce Springsteen, and even then WWE Chairman Vince McMahon. But his most notable character ripoff was when he embraced his inner Heartbreak Kid. Dressing as Shawn Michaels the civilian rather than Shawn Michaels the wrestler, Sandow strode out in his best straw cowboy hat and snakeskin waistcoat to confront Bret Hart, who he'd also dressed up as. The segment concluded with him ending up in a sharpshooter, obviously, and by next week, Damien Sandow had given up his career moonlighting as a Shawn Michaels doppelganger to become a Sonic worker. As was the case when Charlie Huss was doing it in the late noughties, the crowd erupted when...
I feel like Damien Sandow did it the best, bro. I mean, I feel like it really sucked that they didn't really take that nigga's career like serious, but like I really think he kind of did that. Like, he was one of the best to do that little whole stick. Like, man.
Shawn Michaels' music hit, but they shouldn't have. This was bizarrely on an episode of Main Event, so an appearance from Mr. WrestleMania was as likely as Bret Hart finally forgiving Goldberg. That ain't never happening. Number 9. Dolph Ziggler becomes the Dead Man. There's no longer such a thing as originality in pro wrestling, which is why in 2017, Dolph Ziggler ripped off Damien Sandow's rip-off of Charlie Huss's gimmick, which also ripped off The Big Show. John Cena, Randy Savage, Shawn Michaels, and most strangely Naomi were among those to feel the wrath of Dolph Ziggler's new character, which was supposedly to highlight that work rate matters more than a flashy entrance. In other words, according to Ziggler, Randy Savage and Shawn Michaels, two of the greatest in-ring workers ever, only got over because of how they walked to the ring. Now let's be fair, it was a gimmick designed to fail, but not before Ziggler pulled off his best impersonation of The Undertaker. Mimicking the dead man on the September 26, 2017 episode of SmackDown, Dolph rocked up in full Undertaker apparel. And while the first sound of the gong created a rush of excitement, it quickly turned to whining once it was apparent that Mark Calloway was nowhere to be seen. Fans were
I'm not gonna lie, he got me when that first happened because I was like Undertaker, and then like this is like when I think they weren't really like making that many sporadic appearances. This was around that 2017, 2019 era when they didn't bring that much legends in. Well, I have no idea. Never mind. Well, I think they probably did bring a lot of people in, but like I feel like didn't see none around that time. Raw was horrible at that time. Wrestling was kind of low. But like he actually kind of got me with that.
tremendously bored by Dolph Ziggler in this area, and this gimmick was doing him probably no favors, but at least his caricature of The Undertaker served its purpose. It was a good Undertaker. Number 8, it's me, it's The Big Show. Preceding Dolph Ziggler, Damien Sandow, and even Charlie Haas in the gimmick of Rip-Off Club was The Big Show, whose escapades at parodying those who came before him began just weeks after he headlined WrestleMania 2000. Like Ziggler, Sandow, and Haas, Show dressed up as legendary wrestlers such as Hulk Hogan, but the majority of his focus was fixated on mocking lower-level performers as he transformed into Val Venus as the Big Show Boski, Rikishi as Shokishi, the Berserker as Shonen the Barbarian. Now, he would take a break from dressing up as his colleagues when he was sent back to developmental, but come 2001, the world's largest athlete pulled off his most demeaning parody yet. Dressing up as Diamond Dallas Page at the height of his bleak motivational speaker character, The Big Show turned full DDP copycat, complete with an ill-fitting blonde wig and hilariously huge turkey teeth before he delivered a monotonous rendition of a standard Page promo from the time. Now, the live crowd got a good laugh out of the segment, which is exactly what segments such as this are supposed to do. They're not supposed to be taken seriously, and neither was DDP in WWE.
We don't talk about WWE in the early 2000s with DDP. It's just crazy.
Number 7, Stone Cold Kevin Owens. The return of Stone Cold Steve Austin was one of the biggest selling points for WrestleMania 38. WWE did right by Austin by keeping him off all programming until Mania itself, ensuring a gargantuan pop on the night. This didn't stop WWE from trolling its audience, however, as a sound of glass shattering kicked off Raw's March 22nd, 2022 episode. But instead of the Texas Rattlesnake, though, out walked Kevin Owens, Austin's WrestleMania 38 rival. Owens pulled off the Stone Cold imitation flawlessly, nailing every mannerism, from Austin's cocky ring walk to his turnbuckle pose, before listing off as many catchphrases as the time would permit. Ending the segment, KO purposefully fumbled catching the cans of beer that were tossed his way before stunning a production worker for his troubles.
Bro, hey, Kevin Owens did a good ass job, like I say intimidating. I mean, impersonating him actually, because that shit was funny. He didn't have a lot of stuff going on, but he got the face like Stone Cold Steve Austin out of everybody. Think about that, bro. That was like his first time wrestling in a long ass time, and Kevin Owens got to do it. So you got to impersonate him, and you got to wrestle him.
Icing on the cake was that this Raw emanated from Chicago, a demographic that can get notoriously ruthless when things don't go the way they want. Hearing the glass shatter and getting Kevin Owens, not Stone Cold Steve Austin, made Owens the most hated man in town, in turn making the segment a roaring success. Number 6, The Miz's history of impersonations. Unlike the other repeat offenders we've discussed, The Miz's long history of impersonating past and present colleagues saw him parody wrestlers he was feuding with at the time, rather than just plain dress up as to who was relevant for that week. Undoubtedly, his best impersonation was his parody of The Rock in 2011. Saving John Cena from Alberto Del Rio and Brodus Clay beatdown ahead of WrestleMania 27, The Miz looked every bit like the Great One until he removed his sunglasses, as he would have gotten away with it had Michael Cole, his #1 fan at the time.
Oh my god, this was before The Rock got like hulking big ass dude. Before he started eating fucking 15 pancakes or whatever he does, and like this was like skinny Dwayne a little bit, and where this is where The Miz could like match his physique, and like that nigga actually looked like him.
Started to hysterically laugh the minute he saw The Miz. Subsequent parodies have seen the A-lister don the jorts as John Cena and the leather waistcoat as LA Knight, both of which were also convincing enough to draw seismic reactions until fans saw a close-up of his face. Number 5, the fake Bret Hart. Although the topic of the Montreal Screwjob has been done to death on the YouTube platform, It still leaves a sour taste in the mouths of many, particularly because, for a while, Vince McMahon just couldn't let it go. Much like his victory against WCW in the Monday Night Wars, McMahon seized every opportunity to poke the beast, continuing to mock Bret Hart long after he jumped ship to Atlanta, and that included the immediate aftermath of Survivor Series 97. While the night after the fateful pay-per-view saw Vince utter his infamous Bret screwed Bret line, he handed the reins over to DX 2 weeks later. Shawn Michaels, the very man who defeated Hart in the infamous match, claimed to introduce the Hitman to put an end to the controversy. But instead, a little person wearing a degrading Bret Hart mask appeared, failing to put much of a fight against the obviously larger Michaels and Triple H. Although the segment could have done without the involvement of Jim Neidhart, this was a masterstroke in trolling from the WWF, brilliantly addressing the controversy without having to deliver the impossible.
I also heard that they put Jim Neidhart in there because he was still working for the company at the time, and like, what better way to just like degrade Bret Hart even more is with like a member of his family? Crazy as hell. WWE was petty. Well, Vince McMahon was petty as
Return of
fuck.
Bret Hart. Number 4, WWE hypes up Jinder Mahal. With notorious troll master Triple H sitting at the head of the table in WWE, the company's troll jobs have become considerably more overt, though nothing will ever compare to the roller coaster of emotions felt by fans who tuned into the 1st January 2024 episode of Raw. Promoting the return of a former WWE champion left everyone anticipating The Rock, so when Jinder Mahal walked out instead, the drop in excitement was felt worldwide. There were audible signs and groans as
Shit.
Mahal strutted out in full confidence. It absolutely killed the audience excitement, but the adrenaline rushed again when The Rock finally entered, enhancing WWE's latest trolling of the audience to levels never seen before. And despite being booked specifically to knock the vibe, Jinder Mahal remained in good spirits about the ordeal, and he got a World Heavyweight Championship main event match against Seth Rollins later in the month, so it wasn't all bad news, unless you were Seth Rollins' knee. Number
Yeah, hey, I'm not gonna lie, bro. Jinder Mahal, if you want to like make the audience angry, just bring out Jinder Mahal because look what the fuck happened. He got a WWE championship out of it. And back in 2016, when he won it, everybody was at disbelief and was just booing the shit out of him. It's not even just because it came out of nowhere. It was just because it's Jinder Mahal. It's why I fuck with Jinder Mahal because like he's like one of the nicest person and like in the backstage and he just stays motivated. I seen interviews with him in the well like on CVV and like he's actually just for it. Because he loves wrestling.
3, Seth Rollins shields himself. Inspired ring gears are nothing new in the modern age of pro wrestling. Movies, comics, and video games often being drawn upon by WWE superstars when designing their gear, but no one is better at telling a masterful story through their ring gear than Seth Rollins. Throughout his WWE tenure, Seth has drawn inspiration not only from pop culture, but from his catalogue of matches. At Crown Jewel 2025, where he was booked against Cody Rhodes, Rollins' tights pulled together the pair's previous matches from 2022, with 3 patches sewn into his zebra print tights to
What?
represent each contest, including the mocking polka dot ensemble that parodied Dusty Rhodes, Cody's late father. 3 years earlier, however, at the 2022 Royal Rumble, Seth brilliantly trolled the audience and, judging by his reaction, Roman Reigns himself. Challenging the tribal chief for the undisputed title, Rollins played on their pair's history, entering through the crowd to the Shield's old theme music while decked out in his riot-like attire. Reigns' facial reaction was the icing on the cake though. He looked as though he legitimately had no clue of Seth's intentions, which is hopefully true. Number 2, CM Punk is the third Hardy Boy. On an episode of WWE
Oh man, no, I'm not gonna lie. I really hope that he didn't have no knowledge that Seth Rollins was gonna do that. It just brings the better mystique and makes it more funnier hearing the story.
Break It Down, released in December 2025, CM Punk stated that he always aims to habitually step over the line during his storylines. And in 2009, he did precisely that when he mocked Jeff Hardy during their acclaimed feud. Mocking Jeff Hardy's signature entrance on the summer 2009 SmackDown, CM Punk looked like the spitting image of the charismatic enigma. His naturally long hair helped mask his true self, as did the Jeff Hardy style face paint, while the armbands managed to cover up his tattoos. Entrance-wise, CM Punk absolutely nailed Hardy's mannerisms, and it wasn't until much later into the segment that fans realized they had been duped. WWE always went too far.
Oh, I'm not gonna lie. Hey, when I was a kid, this absolutely pissed me the fuck off because I was watching this exact episode on SmackDown. Me being a kid and thinking WWE was like real, and like and not having my like my child wonder crushed by like, kayfabe like nowadays, and not knowing that it wasn't real, and thinking he was a cause of Jeff Hardy leaving and stuff like that, and thinking he got him, kicked out of WWE. Bro, I was so pissed off like seeing this entrance and CM Punk just he did his shit. He got people angry. That's what you're supposed to do as a wrestler.
with Jeff Hardy's single storylines, typically referencing his historical substance abuse issues.
Mm.
While Punk did touch on those later in the feud, it's his imitation of Jeff that many look as the defining step over the line during their acclaimed rivalry rather than the cheap heat. At number 1, Mark Henry's salmon jacket. The concept of a wrestler teasing their retirement before turning it into a storyline is absolutely nothing new, but nobody did it better than Mark Henry did in 2013. He cast doubt over his future in the ring through social media before, but on Raw's June 17, 2013 episode, he confirmed he was hanging up his boots for good in a genuinely emotional
This
speech.
nigga was
John Cena, the
crying.
WWE champion,
How do you, bro? You know how good of an actor you gotta be to just like cry on command like that? That's wild. He might have just hyped it up too with the retirement
at the
speech.
time, joined a tearful Henry, which shouldn't have cast doubt over the legitimacy of Henry's retirement. The former World Heavyweight Champion continued, thanking his family, friends, and fans as he went to hug
Mama,
Cena,
come
and then he
home.
dropped him with the world's strongest slam, ending a career-defining moment by standing tall with the WWE title.
Damn.
Though his career had peaked 2 years earlier with his Hall of Pain gimmick, this could have been the makings of another groundbreaking run for Mark Henry. But sadly, his quest to topple John Cena fell short at Money in the Bank. This, however, was reportedly at Mark Henry's own request. The story goes that he legitimately was considering retirement before Vince McMahon talked him into making a story out of it. He mentioned, "A lot of people were mad at the WWE. I did not take the opportunity to win the title and to run with it. At the same time, I was injured, and I told him, I was like, look man, I really did want to retire, and Vince McMahon talked me out of retiring. He's like, let's just keep it going, and then you retire and let it be a real retirement. I want you to really get into it," and that's what happened. Anytime a WWE superstar dons a pastel-like jacket, you know we're in for a ride.
Oh man, we all know Mark Henry did it first, bro. That was such a crazy ass moment too. I really didn't see that shit coming. I thought he was actually going to retire. And as soon as he was like, "Mama, I'm coming home," I was like, "Yo, he about to retire." But man, I mean, he didn't add that CM Punk moment of him trolling the crowd with Stone Cold Steve Austin. But the topping on that, he actually added the Jeff Hardy one. These are some good ass moments. Go check out WrestleMania, and if you enjoyed my reaction, I'll have more WWE videos in that playlist. Go check them out. And we on the road to 400. Catch you guys in the next video.
He was the best guy around.
What about the people he murdered?
What murder?